Hi, good morning. My name is Keith Greenfield. The next 10 minutes I'll just talk a little bit about a day in my life in my role here at Sussex Cricket. That role is performance manager, and the sort of general detail of that is I look after the professional cricket team for both the men and the women's game, and the junior pathway for both boys and girls, and the link between our community department and our professional game in regards to activities that we want to do combined. How do I get the job? Well, it's been a long journey. So I've been at Sussex now for 35 years. I started on a youth training scheme, learning groundsmanship, and then obviously at that time trying to become a player. So looking at my cricket skills. I also studied during that YTS scheme on leisure centre management, just as a BTEC to fall back on, just in case the cricket didn't work out. Fortunately, the cricket worked out, and then I went on to be a player for 15 years, and then I moved into the coaching side and looked after the second 11 here at Sussex, and then the academy. And then from that position, I moved into this role as what was director of cricket, and now is the performance director at Sussex. So a typical day, what does it look like? Well, it's quite a diverse role. So I have to think about what's required for the men's team in their preparations. We're 6 weeks away from the start of our season. So the fixtures, we've got the fixtures. We need to book hotels for the team when they travel. We need to organise the coach travel for every away game the guys are playing. We've got players all around the world at the moment. So we've got to look at their travel plans. 2 overseas players that we've got to try and get into the country with the COVID rules at the moment. So we've got to look at visas, getting those sorted out, and then getting their flights sorted out so they arrive in time to give themselves preparation for the year. You'll maybe be able to see behind me up there, there's a great big marquee. So we need to be able to try and get outside practicing as quick as you can. So there's logistics involved in organising the marquee to be delivered in time so we can then dry out the surfaces and then be able to practice outside as quick as we can. And then adding on to that, there's our junior players, what programme we're going to run for them, which I'm working with the pathway lead and our academy director, Richard Housel, with. But as I say, when their programme starts, what's the content of it? Also, that runs across to Alexia Walker in the women's game. I have to work with Alexia to make sure the girls' programme is what we want, and likewise organise fixtures, schedules for their programmes as well. So that's just the general aspect to the role. But as I say, there's many other things in respect of having to find accommodations for players. So you're going to look for rental flats, as I say, to make sure you've got all the accommodation required for players who are moving between other parts of the world and don't live here in the UK and they need accommodation for 7 months. So looking across that time, most memorable things for me here in my role in at Sussex, well, as a player, it was definitely getting my county cap, which meant that the club and the fans had sort of accepted that you were a quality player and recognition that you had reached the level you required. And obviously, when I started on that YTS scheme, I was never sure I was going to get that far. So that's a great moment to realise how you've progressed and it's been recognised. Moving to the coaching side, most memorable thing was definitely Sussex winning their first county championship in 2003, which took 164 years, the first time in that period. And then obviously we've gone on and won it a couple of times since. But being part of the coaching team that made that team operate and win was brilliant. Worst part of my job. The worst part of my job is definitely when you're releasing a player or you're releasing a member of staff. And particularly when you've worked with that person for a long period of time, because it's never something that anyone likes doing, because you're basically, potentially stopping someone's dream by being fulfilled, or you're making someone have to move to a different role, which they may not want to be doing, and most of the time they never want to be doing. So that's definitely the worst part of the job. And you need to understand and learn good interpersonal skills and empathy when you're doing that, because it's important how somebody leaves your business, your work and your relationship. That's a really, really crucial bit, because it's not a nice time. Best part of my job is I love my job. I love coming to work, and I love working for Sussex Cricket. As I say, best parts are really when you succeed in a project. So like the marquee coming in, first time we've ever done it, getting it here, making sure it's operational, seeing that it works. Offering a young player or a staff member a contract is obviously a great part of the job, because you're starting someone off on a pathway that they want to go on, and you don't know where that's going to finish. And in cricketing terms, hopefully that's playing for England. So that's another great part. You see players go on and represent their country and make a difference there, and that's great. Or you see a staff member go on to international cricket. That's brilliant. And as I say, of course, winning games of cricket and winning trophies is what we're all here to do. So that's a really great part of the job, but particularly winning it as a team and a group of people rather than, as individuals. So the team element is massive. What key skills would you need for this job? Well, adaptability you definitely need, because things change so quickly. So ability to change is very, very important. And change isn't something that all people like. They're sometimes quite wary of change. You have to have the ability to be open-minded and learn new things, and constantly be trying to learn, because you have to learn. You'd never have enough knowledge. You have to be able to problem solve, and problem solve by yourself, but other times you have to be good at working in a team and understand that other people can have the answers. So being able to listen and take on ideas from others and accept them, and not be defensive about that, because the most important thing is getting the task completed in the right way and in the best way. Advice for anybody who's coming into this, well, I think it's quite important for most things really. Preparation is essential for anything, so you have to make sure you do quality preparation. You're never too old to learn, and you can never stop learning, because things are changing so much. Asking for help is not a weakness, it's a strength, because you do not have all the answers yourself. Understand and getting comfortable with the fact that change is permanent. It's constantly happening, and you have to deal with it, and you have to cope with it, and you have to move with it. So my last bit of advice for anyone who's not sure about how they would deal with change is read a book called Who Moved My Cheese, which is a very, very simple little read, and you'll associate yourself with one of the characters, and then that will give you a pretty good idea of how you see change and how you'd probably deal or be affected by it. So change and being able to deal with it is massive for me. I hope that helps, and good luck, and see you soon.